What's up, folks? Welcome in. It is the Oddsmakers presented by Superbook Sports. I'm Jonathan Von Tobel, Jay Kornegay, John Murray alongside, doing this a little earlier in the week, and it is because it is Super Bowl week, an exciting time of the year, the NFL season. It's all over. It's done with. It's all come down to this 4 quarters, maybe an extra one, of play to decide the champion. Are you guys as excited as people like me, normies who have no work to do? Or is your work just done now at this point? Everything's up. You move the numbers, bets come in, and the game is played.
Oh, it's very simple.
All right, cool.
Simplify everything.
John has tons of work to do. I thought you were going to Radio Row, whatever that is.
I'm not. I tried to. You know, it's funny. I received a text from somebody who was affiliated with Superbook Sports with the question of, are you going to the Super Bowl? And my response was, I'm open to it. Mm-hmm. The response back was, oh, I'm just checking. I was like, oh, okay.
Who was this person? Was it Mike Rigg?
Yeah, it was your favorite guy. It's Mike.
It was Mike Rigg.
Yeah.
And Mike is not here. This is the week of the Super Bowl. He's not even here.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, that's fine. Whatever.
That is going to be
show
like,
anyway, I guess.
Oh yeah, no, free expense. Let's go. We'll get you down there. Let's do it.
Right.
Not the case. Not the case.
Very disappointing.
It was. But hey, I'm here with you guys. It's all that counts.
Mm-hmm.
How was the last 2 weeks? Huh? Busy for you? You get props up. Super Bowl's here. What in all seriousness? What are these weeks leading up to the big game like for you guys?
Well, it's busy at first. Those guys, get together and crunch out numbers for about 3.5 days. We post it, get that initial rush of money that comes in on these propositions for about 2 or 3 more days. And then we have this little bit of a lull. And at that, during this time, we just kind of deal with the waves of action that will come in. And, someone will come in and bet 3 or 4 propositions for the limit. And then it's a little quiet. We're dealing with these really light basketball schedules right now, which was kind of nice. And then it starts to pick up right around Friday night as everybody starts arriving in town. And I would estimate, about 85% of the action comes in the last 48 hours. Yeah. So it's really the calm before the storm.
And is that the same for like everywhere, right? Because I would assume, because we're talking, obviously a lot of people come out to Las Vegas, and that's where a mass majority out here comes in. But in all these other states where Superbook is located, public bettors generally will not bet until like day before or day of, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep, that's what's going to happen. I would imagine, it's a late start. I mean, even go to the East Coast. I mean, the game's not kicking off until 6:30. Imagine how many bets we're going to be taking on that Sunday. I mean, people are looking through the props and getting excited, and we'll see that action come in, but it's just kind of trickling in. But, floodgates will open probably around Saturday morning, somewhere around there.
And how many bets total do you guys have available for this entire thing? Do you know what's the actual number,
John?
No,
I have no idea. It's like
hold this. Can you hold for our like visual audience for those who don't see it? I mean, this is, you can go up on superbook.com and whatever state you're in, you can see every single prop that is available.
Correct.
This is a 23 page packet.
It's more than that.
More than that.
Yeah.
Page 30.
Okay, there you go.
Well, here's something, John. I got something I don't like.
Okay.
I don't like it when sports books say, like, okay, so you got all the different players listed for MVP.
Wait, before you say that, I said that. Okay, go ahead.
You already said this?
Yes. No, I mean, I said it.
I think he's taking credit for the...
I was making fun of those that say, we have about... unit. Are you okay?
Oh, one of our producers almost fell.
It's all right.
Well, you can't call that. That's not a separate prop. Every single guy listed for MVP, every single guy listed for first player to score a touchdown, that is not a separate prop. That's one prop.
I was kind of mocking a competitor because I would never do that. And that's I got not quoted. And it's like...
We're not supposed to do that.
I didn't say by name. I'm just saying that, we have about 500 different propositions.
Okay.
But others will take it and say, we have about 2,000 or over 2,000 betting options.
Oh, so they'll count like every player
as a betting option. If you count every guy to score first touchdown and a prop.
So every option on an index prop is counted like, okay.
15, 20 times.
You said this in another interview, Jay?
Tricky. I did.
Oh, boy. If Mike Rigg was here, he could edit this out, but he's not, so we'll just keep it in. I apologize.
Okay, all right.
Apologize for being redundant.
Well, either way, that is a little corny. We'll put it that way. But it's, hey, you know what? To make yourself look better, you guys should probably just start doing it. How about that?
Well, I did.
But then we'd have to have somebody count it all up.
I mean, you did have to add, let's just say, you did have to add 2 to the count this year. We got 2 new props up this year.
I didn't count. I just estimated.
Well, we could just have Babakitas count up all the options. That would take him like a day. He could do it.
By the way, last Friday, I texted the group text. John was busy. He's out of town. A shout out to Aaron Y., who is one of your late night supervisors. Help me sign up for the prop contest out here. Good guy.
Very good guy.
Yeah, didn't know who I was though. So
Did he
it was a
give
point
you what happened there? He give you drink tickets?
I wasn't going to bring it up.
I knew it. See,
I wasn't going to bring it up. Can I
my
say
radar
something?
goes up if I hear like from a guest how great one of the frontline people is. I'm thinking, what did we give him? What did that employee give away? He gave you drink tickets?
No, I wasn't going to bring this up, but actually, the teller who helped me, was clearly new, or at least was training to how to sign people up for contests because he didn't know what to do.
Oh boy!
I also made a couple of bets.
Okay.
Big stack of drink tickets. Not one was offered to me.
Oh,
who
really?
was that teller? I want to promote him.
I didn't want to.
I want to promote that individual.
I was just saying.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a
Promote
good
that
thing.
man.
It's a good thing.
Our training's going well.
I eyed him too. I sat there and I was already a couple in. I was playing video poker. I was ready to go, and I was like, "Oh, okay, all right." I don't want to ask.
Trying to run a business here, John.
Okay, all right. Well, then don't put them in the bird's eye view.
Why didn't you ask?
I'm not that guy. I didn't want to ask.
That
Good.
guy.
Thank you, John.
Although I did get a text from Jay that said something along the lines of, "John, you know people." So like maybe I should have just been like, "I know Jay Kornegay. He could give me free stuff."
Yeah,
Well,
that's going to get you far.
We do have a food and drink budget here, John. We can't just give away everything.
It's very true. I've dipped into that budget.
We saved a lot of money on Mike Riggs' travel budget this year, though.
I mean, clearly he was trying to save some on mine.
That's not true.
He wasn't going to let me to go to the
No,
Super
because
Bowl.
he's going late, which costs more.
That's a good point.
Right? Yeah, he didn't go like 5 or 7 days before the game. He's going to go like 3 days before the game, right when they have a spike in airfare.
Right.
Speaking of the game,
Typical.
Super Bowl 57. Let's go big picture first. Kansas City and Philadelphia. Eagles 1.5 total 51. So I will ask you guys first. 2 weeks ago, essentially 2 weeks ago, where did you open? Were you one of the shops that opened Kansas City as a favorite for this game?
We were not.
Okay.
We had our own discussion in the back room, and we were all over the place.
Pro Philly room, we should point out, right?
Very
Yeah.
pro Philly.
But I don't think anybody else had Philly favored. I think
I think it was just you.
Ed had Pick'em.
Mhm.
I think the others had Kansas City 1, maybe 1.5.
I said pick 'em.
I said
pick 'em.
2. I said Philly 2.
Well, we had Kansas City 1 as the look ahead number, but then they got so banged up. I mean, they never really should have beat Cincinnati. They were so banged up in that game. Pick to Philly's small favorite makes sense. So I think Jay was right.
But it's kind of creeping that way. So anyway, we went from pick up to 2.5.
Yep.
You know, Philly was up there. It was running. We didn't know where it was going to stop, even though we thought, you know, getting to 3 was a reach. And then shortly after that, it dropped down to 1.5, and it's been at 1.5 now for a few days. So pretty solid action. I mean, I think that it's been a little. I mean, but we should expect this, right, John? I mean, right in this little lull.
It's Tuesday. It's always a little quiet right now.
Yeah.
And this weekend, I guess they had the Pro Bowl this weekend.
Yes, something called the Pro Bowl at least.
Did they?
And this weekend was really quiet. Of course, it should be. It's usually quiet right now. It's going to pick up as we get closer to Sunday.
What do you think was behind the move to Philly as high as 2.5? Was it those, John, my theory was I think the market was overreacting to the injuries to Kansas City's wideouts to a certain extent. And I guess it's foolish to say not really realizing there's 2 weeks in between games, but it kind of felt like that, right? Like there's time for these guys to get healthy.
I think it was that. I think it was just as much of it was how lucky Kansas City was to escape that game. That was really good for the book. We were rooting for Kansas City. We were happy to see it, but they were very fortunate there. I mean, that was a foul. Let's get that out of the way. That was a penalty. That guy Mahomes was well out of bounds, but Kansas City was very lucky to win that game. Philadelphia won so easily against a team that couldn't throw a forward pass, but they still won.
Yeah, we should
easily.
very much point that out.
But I think there's always an overreaction to the conference championship games. We saw it. The best example I can think of is years ago when Jay's Broncos were getting 6 against Carolina because they beat Arizona by 1,000,000 points. And every wise guy bet Denver that week, and Denver won the game outright. So there's always an overreaction to those conference championship games. Philadelphia won so easily. I think the Chiefs were very lucky to win. I think that's why you see Philadelphia favored.
Where do you think the Sharps are going to go with this thing? I mean, we know what the public's going to do. I think it's going to be scattered all over the place. So maybe, I was just telling Jeremiah that I think about 55% of the tickets will probably be on Eagles. That's my guess.
By the time we get to kickoff?
Yeah. But Sharps, I'm not sure what they're going to do. They'll probably, I mean, they've been picking off these props here and there. Once they find perceived value, that's what they do. But for the game itself, I don't know, unless it runs some way.
They bet the over. They bet over 50, and they bet over 50.5. Now, could that be them setting it up to play the under as we get closer to the weekend, possibly. True. But we definitely saw really sharp players here in Nevada over 50 and a half, and got us up to 51 on the total, which I thought was interesting because Philadelphia's defense is pretty good.
I think
let's just say it. Neither like Mahomes is banged up. We all know that. I think there's something wrong with Hurts. Hurts didn't play well at all in either of the 2 playoff games, and he was injured at the end of the regular season. So we'll see. I thought it was interesting to see the sharp money on the over.
Hurts, if you like these sort of metrics, like from Pro Football Focus standpoint, he has not graded well since he's come back from injury at all. We're talking some really low grades underneath 65, I think it is, for both of the playoff games. His accuracy, like they measure, and again, this is all subjective, but they measure literal accuracy on passes. His adjusted completion percentages, it's called, is about like 65%, which again, you want to be in like the 70s to 80s. Again, it's like literal accuracy of ball placement. So I would agree with you, John. He doesn't look that good. And I want to point out one more thing for our listening audience and our visual audience. 51 is becoming more of a key total for everybody out there. So why the relevance of this getting to 51 is important, it's because 51 is becoming more and more of a frequent total of NFL games.
What happens if Hurts needs a drive late in the game? Mm-hmm. You know, Philadelphia. What's Philadelphia's best win this year?
The comeback against Indianapolis?
I mean, seriously, they really haven't been tested all year. It's not their fault. It's not their. They got an easy divisional playoff game because they earned the 1 seed. So they got to play the Giants. They deserved it. They got an easy game in the conference championship game because they knocked out San Francisco's 3rd and 4th string quarterbacks out of the game. What is their best win? All I'm saying is they don't really have any good wins all year.
All year?
They beat Dallas on that Sunday night game. No Dak Prescott in that game. What is their best win?
Well, I could say the same about especially the second half with Kansas City. Look at their wins. At Las Vegas, Denver, Seattle, right at the end of the year. Seattle was not playing very well. No. At Houston, barely won that one. Denver again, that was a hard-fought game. Jacksonville, which we all thought, holy moly, Cincinnati can't score, right? And it was the Chiefs having a tough time with Jacksonville, and then Cincinnati was by far their best win. But look at their schedule for the Chiefs; it's really comparable.
Yeah. Well, they also won at the Chargers, at the 49ers. I mean, this is just who they played.
Here's something that might decide this for you guys.
Back in October.
Yeah, this was pointed out. I think this was Jeff Sagrin who pointed this out by his ratings and whatnot. In 13 games with a strength of schedule difference of 10 or more spots, this would be Kansas City, who has that difference in their favor. The team that played the better schedule, 10-3 straight up, 8-5 against the spread. When there's a difference in their strength of schedule by 10 or more spots, the team that has the better strength of schedule in the Super Bowl tends to come out on top.
I just want to see how the Eagles respond if they fall behind. If they're down in the second half, they still have a relatively inexperienced coach. They've got a quarterback who has not played well at all the last month. They have just been coasting through these games, playing very, very weak opposition week after week, and now they're playing a team that's in the Super Bowl for the 3rd time in 4 years, has a superstar future Hall of Fame quarterback, a very experienced coach. He's in his 4th Super Bowl. I'll be interested to see how they handle it.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I mean, to your guys' point too, I mean, I'm obviously this is the Super Bowl, so I think everybody's fascinated. There's so many little matchups too that are going to be awesome to watch. The Eagles pass rush against an offensive line for Kansas City, which has been very good all season long. There's a lot of little things that play into this. John, I wanted to hit on a point really quickly that you brought up. So you talked about the total, right? And maybe some smoke in terms of, we'll bet this thing over. But then when it gets to a certain point, well, it's 51.5. If you see that pop up, is that what you'll see if it is like a setup here, to use that term? Will you see 51.5 pop and then immediately money come in on the under?
Yeah, I mean, maybe even higher than that.
Okay.
Because I do think the public is going to bet the over.
No doubt.
Once they get to town. And this is one of the few games where the public bets so much money they can move the market in certain spots. So we might see the total go higher. Maybe they're playing the under, but the players that we have that bet the over, they usually are giving us the right stuff. They're usually not just setting up the market to play the other way. We'll see. I said usually, John.
Okay. We'll hold you to it.
Hold me. That's fine. We don't have a show next week.
That's very good.
Do we? Do we have a show?
It's something
I'll ask Mike Rigg. But if we don't have a show, you won't be able to hold me to it.
That's a very good point. All right. I have another question for you guys. Mm-hmm. When it comes to the money line, how much more popular is the underdog on a money line in a standalone game like this when it comes to the Super Bowl? Because generally you see a lot of spots, Not you guys. You guys are at minus 125 plus 105. But you will see some spots in terms of like the underdog probably being a little bit, shorted on the plus side because it gets so popular. Is that true for the most part?
Not in a game with a 1.5 point spread.
Okay.
Normally it is.
Yeah,
Normally
it would
not
be
this year. But
in a
we're
game
still-
with a touchdown spread.
We're still seeing it, though. I mean, right now, there's still a lot of, most of the tickets are coming in on Philadelphia minus 1.5, but on Kansas City, even though they're only getting 1.5, they're betting the money line. And what is that? Plus 05?
Like
plus
105,
10?
something like that?
Something like that.
Wow.
I just
I'm a
mean
genius. I got
I don't
plus 110.
I don't think that the market is cheating the Chiefs bettors much on the money line. Now, my first Super Bowl working out here was New England and the Giants, and New England was like a 14-point favorite, and people were betting the Giants at like 3-1, which mathematically is a ridiculous bet. Of course, it won, but not such a great bet.
Wow.
One of our worst Super Bowls ever.
I bet Giants money line. I was a green teller. Didn't know what I was doing in line. I'm sorry, Patriots money line.
I'm sorry. Which one? The first one or the second?
First one.
Okay.
First one. New England was like a 14-point favorite, and the money line was like 3-1, maybe plus 350.
Yeah, I think that thing got all the way down to 10 too.
Wow.
That was an awful season. I mean, we couldn't keep up with the Patriots at the beginning. They were killing everybody. We couldn't move the line fast enough. We couldn't adjust. I remember when they played the Eagles, they were like a 21.5 point favorite over the Eagles in mid-season. And from that point, they started not covering.
Yep.
And we couldn't catch up to that either. We were making them too high, and we were adjusting every week. We were losing at the front end, losing at the back end. We lost the Super Bowl. I mean, that was just a horrible year booking the Patriots.
Dallas was really good that year. Dallas was the 1 seed in the NFC, and it was definitely not to the extreme of New England, but they were getting the money every week, and everybody was laying the points with them every week. They lost to the Giants in the divisional playoff.
Was a junior in high school. I remember it fondly.
Were you certainly weren't wagering, John. That would have been illegal.
Certainly not. Certainly not. And
good.
Yeah. Anyway,
Next.
moving on from there. All right, I'll ask you this question: where does it close? If we're right in assuming a vast majority of the handle comes in the last couple of days, and to your point, John, that the public does decide this a little bit more, has more impact on the number,
more so than
usual.
Yes.
Where does this close by the time we get to kickoff?
Jay,
You want me to go first?
I do, because I don't have a good answer.
All right. I'm going to go.
Take some of the pressure off of me.
I'm going to go 2-52.
Oh, Chiefs by 2, huh?
I don't know. I think it's going to move the other way.
Okay.
But the public is on Philadelphia, so I don't know. I could be wrong about that. Here at the Superbook, we might have a different take, though. We've got somebody involved that I think is going to want to book to need Philadelphia.
Okay. My guess was going to be like pick.
I feel like it's going to go down towards Pick'em. Yeah.
What about the total?
Total? I'll say it closes like right where it is. 50. I'll go 50.5. How about that?
Okay.
I think it comes back down. I think, to John's point, you guys, we talk about this all the time. Sharp bettors, like those who move the markets and bet totals and whatnot, probably can't help themselves. 51 is key. If 51.5 pops up, it'll probably start to maybe move a little bit. That's my guess.
This is the one true event that the recreational money does.
That's a good
rule
point.
the roost.
All right. Yeah.
There's big money out there. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I wouldn't doubt that if it gets to 51.5, 52, we do see some of that sharp money coming in and taking the under, but it's not enough to overcome the flow. Yeah. We'll see.
I like it. Before we move on to some of the props, because we have quite a bit to get to in terms of these propositions you guys have up, nothing notable like ticket-wise, like big tickets, anything like that has come in the early part? Going to come in the next few days?
Yeah, we've only taken a couple of 5-figure wagers, mid-range at best. So it's been kind of quiet, but this is normal. We'll wait, and we even just right before we started taping this show, one of our best players just arrived. So they're still out there. We're not going to see them until Friday or Saturday.
Most of these guys are coming in Thursday, Friday. They got their flights booked, their rooms.
I know I came in a couple minutes late, but
you're saying you're saying you're the big player, John?
That's it. That's exactly what I'm saying. That's the joke. We're gonna get him on the Oddsmakers pod or what? Let's go. Is he media savvy?
He's very well spoken.
There we go. I like that. Sometimes these guys can't talk, can't string a sentence together. He might be smart.
Oh, it's not easy. It's not easy doing this job, John.
Got the, as they say, I've got the gift of gab.
Yes.
All right, we move on.
You're very good.
Props
right here.
Propositions first. So it was it Thursday that you guys do your prop open? How was the prop opening here at the Superbook at Westgate?
I would describe that as business as usual.
Okay.
At first, it was looking a little light. It was about 6:30, 6:45, and then they just all came rolling in. And once we opened the gates at 7, actually the gate, we only take it at one window. Bettors are limited to 2 bets per person, 2 limit bets, which are $2,000 limits, and then they get back in the line. And they just kept on rolling over for the next few hours, which is very normal. So, but from that point, after that initial rush, like I said, we still see some that comes in last 2 or 3 days right after that, and then it really settles down.
So a lot of the movement, because we're going to go over some of the prop movement, and that does, for our audience, that does happen, right? These don't just get hung up and then that's about it. You guys will move some of these, because a lot of the times too, like, they are just regular player props, right? We're talking about passing yards, we're talking about rushing yards and attempts. Those things can move. Those are not like the most exotic props in the world. Superbook offers those regularly throughout the NFL season. So that is something that'll move around. But I guess what I'm asking is, those guys that come in on Thursday will generally bet those, right? They're not coming in to bet coin toss and things like that.
No. They're not betting
overtime.
They're not betting coin toss. They're not betting like the cross sports props either, because they probably haven't done the math on those. They've run their simulations for the game.
Nice. And
they can see what they're going to bet on. Although the majority of those bets are just people playing differences to our book from another book.
Yeah, that's
most of the bets we take on Thursday. The others we get are from sharp guys. They probably run a series of simulations on the game, and this is what they think is a good bet.
Mm-hmm. Okay. But so John's pointing out too, one shop will have like Mahomes rushing yards at 18.5, and one will have 23.5. So better will go bet 18.5 over to the other place, and then under 23.5 at the other. So
that's true. The majority of the bets on Thursday are like that.
So let's go through some of the ones that have moved the most. I know, Jay, that I had pointed out a couple, and you and I both had pointed out some of the same ones, but you've got a couple of written down. So what is one of the prop bets that moved the most for you guys?
Just looking at a lot of these props surrounding Mahomes, right? We had a first rushing attempt by Mahomes over under 2.5 yards. That's up to 4.5. We have Mahomes, let's see. Oh, what was it? Total yardage of all made field goals. We opened, 102.5. Got up to 115.5. As you mentioned, it came back down to like 112.5 right now. So that proposition getting a lot of attention as well. All right. So
how about the total number of different players to have a rushing attempt? Because that was a massive move for you guys.
Yeah, that was the one I was going to bring up right.
I had
Edwards and
CEH got activated. Right?
Yes, that was the big change. I mean, the big announcement once he got activated, it went from 8.5 minus 150 to 8.5 over minus 360. Some of that move was our move. All right, based on the announcement that he was activated, and others were some of those were plays. The ones that I was telling you about, Mahomes rushing yards, we opened 10.5, got up to 18.5. You got longest rush, by Mahomes over under 6.5 was the opening number, got up to 10.5.
Were those the plays, I would assume?
I would think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because I would on that was one I wanted to focus on really quickly. From your guys' perspective, with the ankle injury, but then the 2 weeks in between, I was excited to look at some of these Mahomes props myself and bet a couple, because I would assume it's pretty tough to gauge what he's going to be like as a runner, because last time he's got a high ankle sprain, and that's somewhat damaging, but he's also got 2 weeks off.
2 weeks off, and don't forget, during that game, I mean, he was limping at one point. I mean, couldn't even put weight on it. So it's probably a little tender, but it's not going to take much. And believe me, the Eagles know that, right? They're seeing that. They saw that, and a little hard tackle, here and there. If they can get him, bruised a little bit, then he might be limping again and take some of that mobility away. But he was just so good in that AFC Championship game, despite that. Anyway, Kelsey to score a touchdown. Yes, we opened up even. All right. Up to minus 135. Total solo and assisted tackles by Bolton from Kansas City. We opened 9.5 tackles. Over was plus 110, and then it's currently minus 160 on the over. So a little variety of everything. Gainwell, rushing attempts by Gainwell. They love Gainwell. Over under 4.5 up to 5.5. So pretty significant moves in the first week or so.
So the other small ones that I wanted to hit on, because these are actually more like fun props that, like, for example, will the game be tied after 0-0? You guys open that a pick. It's now yes minus 120. That's a 10-cent move right in favor of the yes, but that's a little bit of a bump. The total touchdowns by both teams, you guys flipped the juice. It opened up 5.5 under -120, went to over -120. How about the total yardage of all touchdowns in the game? 76.5 was what you guys opened up. Currently 82.5. By the way, all these you can find on superbook.com, so make sure you check that out because you can shop around. And the others that I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on, because I feel like this is a change in the way the football is played nowadays. Will there be a 2-point conversion attempt, or will there be a successful 2-point conversion attempt? For the attempt alone, you guys opened up a pick. Yes, no, -110. Currently, no, -140. And then will there be a successful 2-point conversion attempt? No was -270 at the open. No, -330 now. How much, if at all, from your guys' perspective, has it changed in terms of making that prop alone? Just given the way the football is played nowadays. With analytics down by 14, you go for it on the first touchdown, things like that. How much has that factored into changing those odds?
I'm actually surprised at those moves.
To the no, right?
Yeah. Because I know that, you know what the public's going to do.
Mm-hmm.
What are they going to bet?
They're going to bet yes.
They're going to bet yes all day long. And I think that some of those that bet that probably would get a better number on Saturday night, Sunday morning, something like that.
Most likely. They should have waited.
Yeah, they should have waited on that one. That's just a poor move. That's why I question that. But as far as the style of play, I mean, you look at these. I mean, Reed does a lot of crazy things. Mahomes does a lot of different things. And I think the Eagles' offense has a lot of flexibility as well. So I'm not sure if it's just the style, which has changed a bit, but also these two teams. These two teams are pretty creative, around the goal line. So that doesn't surprise me. I mean, it doesn't surprise me that what we opened at. It surprises me at what it moved to.
Yeah, over the years, though, I've criticized these guys for jumping the gun on these player props, but these groups, they win almost every year. These guys know what they're doing. So I think they jumped the gun here, but I think they've earned a little deference from just being so successful for so many years. I do think that they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
They got crushed when New England and Philadelphia combined for 1 million points 5 years ago. But these groups do well pretty much every year, so I'll give them the benefit of the doubt.
To our benefit, right?
I think they should have waited.
I mean, because we get so lopsided on these things that we have to move these things based off recreational or heavy recreational play, and it's these type of guys that come in and balance our books, and so we're basically needing the same side that they need. They still do well. We actually do pretty good over these propositions over the years. Yeah.
The only time that those guys can really hurt us is when they hit us in an index prop. If they pick the right guy to score the first touchdown, if they pick the right guy, MVP, whatever index prop you want to use, they can hurt us there. But for the most part, in these two-way markets, whatever they're betting is what we need to win.
Can I see the packet? You want to know my favorite index prop to bet during Super Bowls? All right, I'm going to show you guys this. I'm going to tell you my secret. So
Did you say yes?
Think about this.
I'm very interested in what John does.
Oh, come on, you guys.
He's a man about town. He's a big contest player. Apparently, he's a big drinker.
I don't know if a big drinker.
He's leaning on our employees to give him drinks. Not happy about that.
All right, so this is what. So it doesn't really work this time around. But what I like to do is play the total points scored and essentially just play the total. Right. So 46. There was one year. It was actually the Chiefs 49ers where the total that you guys, I think it was you guys or somebody else, had actually put the total move. So for example, if the total had opened up 46 and closed 50. So there was all these people talking about these middles that they had. I was like, why would you do that when you can go bet plus whateher on that? So I like to play
those. Instead of shooting for the middle.
Yeah, instead of shooting for the middle. You know what I mean? So
that makes sense.
For this one, I would go put a little on 5-1 for 51 to 55, put a little bit on 46 to 50. Sometimes you just like that.
Well, here's your problem, John. Now you've spilled the beans.
Right.
If you've got a winning, I never understood people that have a winning formula and then they share it with everybody.
Because I like to share. I'm a sharer.
I keep it to myself.
If I was making odds on you guys even remembering me telling you this a year from now.
I'll remember. I'll bet you right now that I'll remember our next year Super Bowl.
I'm gonna open up the packet next year, and whatever the total is gonna be, it's gonna be like -10, like -$2.
Yes. Have
that's gonna be
Jeremiah or John. Could you ask Mike Rigg to cut that out for me for next year's show?
Plus 160.
Right, exactly. So the two closest will be that's exactly what the adjustment will be. I'm sure it's exactly what it is. By the way, can I also say, because I'm a sharer, I'm a nice guy. You guys did put up the two props for me. Will the teams convert a fourth down in their own territory? As we were talking about before we started recording, one of them did move. You guys opened up the yes for Philly at plus 330. It's down to 3-1 and no minus 360. So how about that? Got some action.
I think that makes sense.
Sirianni's very aggressive. I mean, he's shown he's not afraid to go for it on fourth down.
And they're very good at it.
Yeah.
So I think they've done it like 3 or 4 times during the course of the regular season.
Yep.
But
you should be aggressive if you have that offensive line. If you have that offensive line, you should be willing to take chances that they'll get it for you in a short yardage situation. And Sirianni correctly does that.
I got to admit, I thought we opened that too high. I mean, we're just begging for that yes money.
What are the chances that John encouraged the guys to open the number high for him, in your opinion?
That came here and
Right,
was
yes.
I mean,
yes.
I was told. I don't know. I was
Yeah,
watching.
I see that,
I was watching a video on the Superbook Twitter account, and Jay said that he locked people away in a room with 12 packs of what I assume is water, and allowed them to just go to work. So
I think we had Coke Zeros in there too.
okay,
I think.
right. Yes, I did.
Not for the younger guys, but
Wow, lower tier water too, huh?
yeah.
Yeah, we didn't need them bouncing off the walls, but yeah.
No, we kept the Red Bulls away from the younger group, the KCs, the Chases, the Andrews.
All right, a couple of general prop questions before we get out of here and get predictions too. How popular is the coin toss? Like, honestly, how popular does that thing get?
Very popular.
Really?
Yes.
I'll never understand it.
Look at the number of the tickets that's on it. Maybe not as much money as you would think, but there are a lot of tickets on it.
Do you guys get liability on tails because it never fails?
We do this year, I think.
Did we? Because
That's awesome.
for a while there, we had a streak. We had a losing streak.
Yeah.
Because everybody was betting heads, and it's like we needed tails every time. And it's like sometimes it's a pretty healthy decision for us.
It's our first big roar of the day. The first big roar from the crowd is the coin toss.
Yeah, but you know if you're in a big Las Vegas venue, watch how quiet it gets when they flip that coin.
Oh yeah.
It's like everybody's mumbling around. You hear the crowd, and everybody's like, "Shh, heads."
Oh yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
Will you ever adjust the odds? Will I ever walk in like before? Can I come in on Saturday if the liability's high enough? Can I get heads at like minus 101, minus 102?
I bet tails at plus 105 one year at another sports.
Did you
book.
really?
Yeah.
Well, we did.
I lost.
That's plus EV though, man. That's plus EV.
I could have
A
told you.
literal coin toss at plus 105. Yeah, I'll take my chances. I lost.
Of course.
Well, we actually moved it years ago. We were like, "What are we doing?" We moved it back.
That's no good.
No.
Will there be will there be a prop that does not take a single wager? And if it doesn't take a wager, will you remove it?
Well, first of all, we won't.
Okay.
Every proposition on the board will get
at least one.
More than that.
Yeah.
I'd say minimum maybe 10 to 20 bets, somewhere right around there. But if it falls into that level, yeah, there's a chance that it might be axed for next year.
And the employee that recommended it would most likely be
terminated.
There'd be an issue there.
He'd be most likely with F&B next year.
What about a non-employee who recommended 2 props that generated a ton of action to the point where one of them had to move 30 cents? Yeah. Does he get a job?
Drink tickets.
Okay.
We give that person in this case scenario, we would give them drink tickets.
Okay.
Did we win?
Well, no, not yet. Yeah, you're right.
We'll see.
He would have to refund some money to us.
Okay.
I've also, I hate to admit that I went and I came in and bet those 2. Mm-hmm. I may have misplaced those tickets, so I got to go find those things.
Did you use a player's card, sir?
No, I did not.
Great.
There's one way to make sure you never lose a ticket. You use your phone account.
I was here, and because to be honest with you,
drink tickets.
Because it was what's the word I'm looking for? Sentimental. Because I was the one, you guys put them up for me, so I wanted the tickets, even if they didn't hit. I was going to give them to my children once I died, so they could hold on to them.
Yeah, real keepsake.
Yeah.
I got you.
Losing tickets of 2 props you guys put up for me.
Very sweet.
In the years of 2023. Okay, the other is, so a lot of people like to bet, and these are not available with you guys, the exotic stuff, color of the Gatorade, time of, the anthem. I just asked the question because I'm sure people are curious, but you should put it out. Why don't you put those up? Because it's too subjective, right? I mean, it's very hard to decide those things, especially because you guys are in Nevada, which that would never happen. But there are other online shops who do have those sort of things up because it is not limited in other jurisdictions. But you guys don't do that.
Well, there's 2 different types of problems there.
Right.
The first one, the Gatorade color, is somebody knows. Somebody has knowledge. There's no way that we're going to put up anything that somebody might know the answer to. It's not taking place on the field of play. It's not a sporting event or a coin flip. It's not an event. It's something that, you have knowledge of. So we won't put up anything like that. The other one is there's been many problems with the national anthem over the years. A lot of people have different clocks. Mm-hmm. So, when the singer starts humming, is that when you start the clock? The last note, how long do you start it right or end it right at the end of that last note? Or how long that singer carries that note. I've also heard problems where the flyover interrupts the end of the song and you don't know exactly when the song ends, because these, all these performers, including halftime performers, all have rehearsals.
Mm-hmm.
So they're pretty spot on with these times. They're right on it. I mean, for Maroon 5 that one year, which I still think they have it, like which song is going to be sung first? There must be 1,000 people in the stadium watching this rehearsal.
Right.
Somebody has knowledge of it. So that's why you won't see us posting any type of knowledge propositions.
And then they hit you with a double brave at the end too, right?
Could.
When they're singing the anthem. When do you stop it? All right.
You got to be careful when you're taking bets on something that somebody knows.
Yeah.
Like we got away with those Bucks futures this year because the Bucks were terrible even with Brady, but 2 years before that, somebody knew that Brady was signing with the Bucks, and we did not get away with that one. And we lost a lot of money. So if somebody out there has the information that you don't have, it's tough.
One day. No?
No, I hope not.
Okay. All right.
No chance.
All right. Let's go down the table. I'm told that you guys are going to give me predictions for Super Bowl 57.
I thought we were not supposed to make predictions on the air.
Oh.
I didn't read the rundown.
I mean, it was in there, but if you guys can't, then it's fine.
Okay.
You want my prediction?
Go ahead.
I'll give it to you. You guys weren't interested in my index prop strategy, although, again, I gave it to you, and then you seemed pretty interested afterwards. Let's go. I go a little contrarian. I'll go Chiefs 23-17. Low scoring affair. Chiefs win by 6.
I'm going to root for both teams to have a good time.
All right.
The Marge Simpson bet. Oh, no, maybe that was Reverend Lovejoy's wife.
Or no, who was the actor that was in the stands with just an NFL hat on?
That was Rob Lowe.
Yeah, it was Rob Lowe. He just had the NFL insignia on his baseball cap. What a guy, huh?
Or maybe that was Seymour Skinner. I think it was Skinner. He just bet on, he's like, can I just bet on all the horses to have fun? You want that line over there, wuss bets. No, I kind of agree with John. I think Kansas City's going to win, but I know the book is going to be rooting for Philadelphia, so we'll see.
Okay. Jay,
yeah, I'm going to go opposite. I'm going with my initial feeling. I think the Eagles can rush the ball, and I think that will be a key. No one stopped them yet, especially when Hurts is back there. So I'll go Eagles. I'll go public way. I'll go 31-26 Eagles.
Okay. All right.
You got to pick the score?
I mean, if you want.
Gosh.
I'm pretty confident.
I'll go 27-21 Chiefs.
Wow.
I'll go with the Chiefs here.
Hey, that's a 6-point margin just like me. So
okay, good.
Guess what? If you're out and about, guess what? You can watch the game. Superbook, that's the spot. It's one of my favorite spots, and this is the environment to be at. So Superbook at the Westgate or any of our other locations, of course. And as always, you can follow us on social at Superbook Sports and Superbook.com. Stay on top of all the latest odds, boosts, and promos. With that, we're all done. Super Bowl 57 will be gone by the time we reconvene, and we can look ahead to next year here on the Oddsmakers, presented by Superbook Sports.